First thing I notice about that song is there's no Cannonball Adderley.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to say that. Exactly.
It's like,
It's a Cannonball album, and he does a whole tune where it's a tenor feature without him on it.
yeah, pretty
Yeah,
wild.
and he does that on a lot of his albums. So when when Yusef Lateef is playing tenor, he does that on some records, and later on when Charles Lloyd's on some of those later albums, though I really love those albums. And young Charles Lloyd sounds really great. He got a little bit hippie spiritual later on, but that he plays like this kind of trained tone thing. He's a Charles Lloyd version of it, and it's definitely like Cannonball says, "Hey man, you remember the way Train played on You're a Weaver of Dreams? Why don't you do a feature like that on my next album?" It's so great, man.
Yeah, amazing, generous, and I guess a great musician knows when he should lay out.
Well, Cannonball's a really magnanimous personality, so playing all of his brother's tunes is perfectly good because his brother writes great songs. And featuring a third member as fellow saxophonist in the band, that's a big asset. So blow him up. Blowing up the people around you only makes you better. If somebody who came over for lessons or pointers or whatever from me turns into a big star, I get to say, yeah, I showed them everything they know.
Yeah,
It's good,
that's right. That's right.
Where's the damage in that? If they succeed, I succeed. You go up, I go up.
Yeah, and
Another thing you noticed was I'm waiting.
well, that one is that it's a Wynton Kelly on piano. Uh,
Right, it's the Miles 58,
Yeah.
59
yeah,
band.
it's
It's the band that's on. It's the working band that's on Kind of Blue without Bill Evans.
that's right. And Wynton Kelly plays on a couple of those cuts on Kind of Blue, right? He's on. It's
Yeah, when they want the music to swing with that family, African American thing, and Wynton Kelly swings like like him and Red Garland like swing like fucking crazy. So when you want the music to swing super hard, Bill Evans with the wonderful chords and conceptual ideas, the music rhythmic feeling, Wynton Kelly.
yeah, yeah.
You
And
know?
also, I don't know how would you describe his kind of. I mean, he instantly sounds different than Red Garland, and it's more of a his attack. I almost feel like his hands are higher on the piano, and he's kind of dropping down onto those keys with a kind of lilting, kind of bouncy quality to it. I mean,
Yeah, right. Well, that's. I think that's a lot of times what people would use when they use the generic term swing. They kind of mean, and sometimes it kind of means that it's how the notes pop on the upbeat.
yeah,
Red Garland does it too, but Wynton Kelly has a. It's kind of special. It's like it's great when Red Garland does it, and Wynton Kelly probably got it from Red, and Red got it from Bud.
yeah,
But it's the but the music pops on the upbeat in a certain kind of way, and that's done with a very fine motor control in the finger, the way you hit the piano.
yeah,
And that's what
Yeah.
and that you totally noticed that.
Yeah.
And another thing I noticed was that was a walking ballad.
mm-hmm.
Quarter note equals 85.
Right.
Boom, 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 like you're walking down the street, taking a little relaxing stroll. Doom, doom, doom. Whereas the other ones are like, it's hard to play bass on those tempos, man. You're like, wait a minute, am I going to be early? Am I going to be late? Where's the drummer?
Yeah. Yeah.
So on these walking ballads, and then the solos change character a little bit when you're on a walking ballad, and you start doing the bird double ups. Double up means 16th notes against the beat. Right? So you start doing classic 16th note double up. And another thing I noticed on this one at the end, Train gives you a little glimpse of what's going to turn into his cadenza thing.
Yeah. Great ending on this one.
He gives you, but it's like a hint. It's as if he doesn't know he's going to do it yet, because what it's going to turn into in 4 years, playing "I Want to Talk About You," like live at Birdland, 1963. "I Want to Talk About You." He takes these full chorus and a half solo saxophone cadenzas that go on for 4 minutes. And as a saxophonist, I'd listen to it and just stand there in awe of like, wow, yeah, the sax can do all that. You're not missing the band at all. It doesn't seem like, oh, I wish the band was playing along with this. No, and it's so cool that it's all by himself. And he goes through like basically everything. He just tears the whole harmonic part of the music apart. And it's so spiritual and virtuoso, and it's so full of love and joy too.
Yeah.
It never sounds like angry and like he's like, getting mad at his saxophone or something.
Yeah. Well, those classic. I guess I didn't know what to call it, but cadenza, I guess, is a great word.
Yeah, cadenza. Yeah, it's a total like Italian thing. Like there's like a violin cadenza at the end of violin sonata. At the end of piano concertos by Beethoven, it says cadenza, and then Beethoven will write a cadenza, but you could also improvise one if you were felt up to it.
Right.
And sometimes people will transcribe a famous one that somebody else played, and so there'll be like 2 cadenzas, or you can make up your own, depending on what kind of, some pianists would be like, oh, let me show off what a badass I am. And other ones, I'm the master of Beethoven. They do the Beethoven cadenza perfect.
Right.
Cadenza! You got to do it with the Italian hand.
Well, and I think that amazing cadenza at the end of the song is a perfect way to wrap up our part 1 of Coltrane Plays Ballads, Virtuoso Ballads. So what do we have to look forward to in part 2, Timo? What were we going to be getting into when we do in the next chapter of this little series here?
Well, we're going to be doing ballads, right? So we're going to watch how his ballad thing develops. I guess we were just talking about that ballads are going to get more fluid, more virtuoso. You're going to have Elvin Jones as your drummer too.
Yeah.
So there's this elasticity and
a little more free.
And the music's going to go. Yeah, and the music's going to go further into the '60s, the tumultuous, creative hotbed of the '60s. So, and then he gets tired after he tours in '60 with Miles, and really starts getting his Atlantic and his own compositions together, Giant Steps and all this. And then '61, he goes on tour in Europe, plays the same 8 songs every night. '62, he plays the same songs. And '63, he plays them again. But by '63, everything's becoming ferocious. The spiritual quest to the spiritual dimension of the music, the shrieking and the saxophone tour de force and the spiritual, and it's just the music's becoming, for a lot of people, it starts becoming unlistenable. It's a little terrifying at times. Like, he's going to play My Favorite Things, 35 minutes of terror on My Favorite Things. I mean, it's beautiful. I find it gorgeous, but it's so intense that it can be frightening. And then he starts writing his own tunes again, like Love Supreme and the records Transition. And then it's his late period. He's got ballads in there like Dear Lord that now show the unequivocal master at work. The composing, the playing, the maturity, the spiritual message. Just like you just stand and, all right, this is the masterwork right here. That's what we're looking forward to.
Cool. Yes, and some of the tunes will be things people are familiar with, like Blue and Green from the best-selling album of all time.
They're not familiar with that one?
Yeah, and Blue and Green, and I looked it up on Spotify, had over 100 million plays. So We're not talking about super obscure jazz music here. We're talking about stuff that hundreds of millions of people are listening to. So that's going to be fun. And of course, is one of his most famous tunes that's been covered by everybody, Naima and other gems, and a little collaboration with Duke Ellington. So a lot to look forward to in part 2, and we'll be seeing you real soon, Timo.
All right,
okay.
man. That was fun.
Thanks.
All right, brothers.
Bye.
See ya.